My name is Jennifer Bonetto. I'm a Feng Shui master. I've been practicing Feng Shui since 2008. And so what I'm going to do with you guys today is I'm going to kind of give you just a brief little introduction on what real Feng Shui is. Then we'll go through some houses that may be difficult to sell and list, and then different things that you can do to offset that to help speed up the sale of that house. And then at the end, I'm going to teach you guys how to, there's a system, and we'll log on my website so you can pull up the sheet at the end. But basically the system will teach you guys how to be able to get new clients quicker, make more money, negotiate deals easier. So we'll go through that whole system at the end. So as we go along here, I just want you to keep in mind for your own selves, like I always tell people, do your own personal inventory. So as I'm discussing how energy affects people in different ways, it can help your life or make things more difficult. Just pay attention to how things have played out in your own life. So let me see, here's some of the chats. Yeah, the recording will be shared with everyone. They'll send you a link at the end. And I think that's it for the questions right now. Okay, so I have been doing this since 2008. My background is finance and accounting. I did the whole corporate America thing, but I wasn't happy with it. So then I branched off on my own and I started studying Feng Shui with a real classical master. So I loved it so much that I wanted to incorporate it into a business, and I was able to do that. And I was on different shows, you know, just explaining to people how energy really works, how it affects people, because it affects our everyday life. It affects every aspect that has to do with money, with health, and with relationships. So the main takeaway that I want you guys to be able to have today is to understand what it really is, how energy affects us, how it works, how it can affect a sale of a house, how it can speed up a sale of a house. And then I also want you guys to be able to utilize the system so that you're able to make an impact in your own personal lives as well. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so what is Feng Shui? So you guys can read the definition of it. I'm going to give you a more grounded, down-to-earth, real-life example. So Feng Shui is just basically how the energy of a building or an office affects us day to day. So a lot of times we discuss how Feng Shui can affect the human experience. So the human experience has to do with money, with health, and with relationships. So some examples that I like to give are, you could be living in a home for a year or 2 years. And while you've lived in this home, you've gotten a job promotion, you've gotten a raise, you've met the love of your life, you're about to get married. That's an example of how Feng Shui or energy affects us. Or the inverse of that is you could be living in a home and maybe you got laid off from your job, or you got sick, or things have been up and down, it hasn't been stable. That's another way of how energy can affect us. An example of how people's energy affects us is something like you can get a phone call and the person on the other line is really upset, and maybe they're like telling you all their problems, or they're unloading, or they're having a hard day. And by the time that conversation's over, you might feel like crap, but then that person feels good. So even though we can't see energy in a building, or we can't see people's energy, it affects us because you can feel it when you walk into a space. Like some people are sensitive and they can walk into like a busy mall or a concert and they feel drained and they want to go home. Or you can walk into an open house and you're like, wow, this is a great house, it's going to sell fast. Or maybe you walk into an open house and you're like, this is not that good of a house, I don't like it, but you don't know why. That's energy, that's Feng Shui. And so as we move along, you'll kind of start understanding a little bit more of why that happens, how it affects us, and then different things that we can do to help remedy that. So the direct translation is pronounced Feng Shui. So if you're ever working with Asian clients and you want to impress them, that's how you say it, but most people don't understand when you say that, so we just say Feng Shui. But the direct translation is wind and water, and it does affect every single aspect of our lives. The main categories being money, health, and relationships. So because I came from finance and accounting, I always say that when your home or your business has good energy or has been feng shuied, it's like a natural form of capital. So people will invest in like 401ks or IRAs, and they do it because they want to receive long-term income in the future, or they want to make sure that they're taken care of when they retire. Well, it's the same thing with feng shui or energy. When the energy in your home or your business supports you long-term, you'll see the benefits of that. And you'll be able to see the benefits in terms of, you know, sometimes because of the economy, we'll have downturns or we'll have upswings. And people in sales positions usually are like in a feast or famine mode. With energy or feng shui, when it supports your home or business, it will help keep you stable and in an upward continuum so that you're not experiencing those low lows. So feng shui has been around for over 3,500 years, but the way it's practiced today, it's been around for about 1,500 years. So these methods obviously started in Asia, and a lot of American businesses heard of it because they wanted to create a presence in Asia. And you can't do business there without being able to incorporate feng shui into the design of the building. Excuse me. So in order to do business there, they had to utilize feng shui into their businesses. So they did, and they liked the results so much they brought it to America. So there's a lot of business moguls that use classical feng shui, a lot of banks. What's interesting is in 2008, when we had that huge banking crisis, real estate crisis, banks were being bought out or they're being merged. But the two banks that are still around are Wells Fargo's and Chase Bank. So what's interesting about that is they use feng shui into their design of their buildings here. So it kind of helps you weather the storm. And I think that that's the most important takeaway of why people would want to use feng shui or energy to help build the life or create the life or maintain the life that they would like. Another example that I like to use is, and I'm losing my voice, so please excuse me if I'm like, I have like this vocal fry. So another example that I like to use is people will see a mall or like a strip mall. They'll see a business in a strip mall, and that building will have a new business every year or every other year, every few years. People are always like, what's up with that place? Why is it always, you know, new business, old business, new business, old business? That has to do with the feng shui or the energy of that space. And that's what we're going to discuss today, things that are beneficial and things that are not. So in real or authentic feng shui, we use a compass, and we use a compass to see the orientation, so the facing direction of a building. We want to know what degree it faces, because that will tell us what kind of energy is affecting the building. That's super important. We use feng shui for everything, for existing buildings, to build new buildings, to try to sell a home faster. I've done shopping malls, you know, hair salons, nail salons, anything and everything that you can think of, you can use feng shui. It doesn't have to be to pick out a new home. You could use it for an existing home. I've done master plan communities and urban developments. So anything and everything that you can think of, we use classical feng shui. Now, these are some of the myths that I get a lot of times. People will ask me, you know, is this feng shui? Is this feng shui? So I'm going to kind of run down through the list and explain to you what is and what's not. So classical feng shui has been around for thousands of years, but over 60 years ago, there was this thing that was developed that's called Western feng shui. So people thought, oh, feng shui is super interesting. There is something to this, but it is a little bit complicated. So we want to introduce to the Western cultures a watered down cookie cutter version. And we're going to call it Western feng shui so that people can relate to it and it'll generate some interest. So Western feng shui, the good thing about it is that it put feng shui on the map. The negative thing about it is there's a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of faux pas. There's a lot of things that really is not feng shui, but that's kind of caught on over the years and people think it is. So with classical feng shui, we're not worried about colors. Really, the only colors that can activate energy are red and black. So unless you're going to be painting your entire house red or black, it's a moot point. We don't consider colors. With Western Feng Shui, there was a period of time where they said, you have to paint the walls of your home to match the actual bagua in a house. And in the screen right here, this is the bagua. That's not true. You don't have to do that. We don't use bamboo flutes. So those are like the flutes that you hang from the ceiling. We don't use crystals. You can have crystals in your home. But in order to really shift energy in a home, the crystals that you would need would have to be like, at least 4 feet, those huge geodes that are mined in Brazil. And those cost like tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's too cost prohibitive. A lot of times people will hang like a little crystal over a door or a window that they think is negative. And what I tell people is, in order for crystals to make an impact like that, to shift the energy in your home, it has to be in proportion to the size of your home. So if you're hanging like a little 3-inch crystal and your home is 2,000 square feet, that crystal will turn into like ash and dust before anything happens. So that's why, yes, you can have crystals in your home. Yes, you can wear them on your person. There's no issue with it, but just know that's not shifting, excuse me, the energy in your home. That's just for your personal, for your personal like or dislike. Okay, we don't utilize purple pillows. We don't feng shui cats or dogs. But what I say is that if the energy in your home is good, it will support your animal, your children. You will see that their energy starts shifting too. We don't utilize feng shui plants. But again, it's been scientifically proven that there's about 15 different types of plants that do absorb negative energy. They're air purifiers. They absorb toxins in the environment. They do help improve the overall energy. But is there such a thing as a feng shui plant? No. We don't utilize feng shui tanks. There's no such thing as like feng shui paintings or decors. We don't use the foo dogs or the bagua numbers or chandeliers. What I will say is that house numbers, the Chinese don't like the number 4 because in Mandarin it translates into death. So if you go into Asia or China, you'll go into high-rise buildings, and instead of having the 4th floor, like it'll go 1, 2, 3, and then jump to 5, because it is a superstition and they don't like that number. It's kind of like us with Friday the 13th. So a lot of times people will think, oh, if you have the number 4 in your address, it's bad luck. That's not true. In authentic classical feng shui, we don't take the address into consideration. But what I do tell people, if you are in a heavily Asian area, try to avoid the number 4 in your address, just because that house may not sell as well because of their beliefs and their superstition that they have. I had a builder who was building in Arcadia, and we petitioned the city to change the address because the address was 1444. And I told them, you're going to have a hard time selling this house. It had some other issues as well, but so we were able to petition the city and change the address. But just know, for our personal purposes, it is a superstition. But if you're dealing with the Asian culture, it's going to be something that you're going to want to take care of. And the same with the listing price. Try to avoid 4s in the listing price if you're in a predominantly Asian area, because they might deem that house as bad luck. Okay, so our favorite types of buildings are square or rectangular. These are the best types of homes because the energy flows the most evenly and the most uniformly. Homes that are 3 to 4 times longer than they are wider, we call those squeeze chi. Normally people can make money in these homes, but they have a hard time holding on to it because of the shape of the home. So it could be a situation where people are living like paycheck to paycheck. I always tell people, just try to find a normal home on a normal size lot. So square rectangular shaped home on a flat piece of land is always the best way to go with properties. Anytime you run into a weird shaped home or lot, this is where people run into issues energetically. So like triangle or L-shaped. Those aren't ideal because we say in an L-shaped home, the heart of the home is missing. So families might not be as tight-knit. They can separate. It can indicate divorce. So always square or rectangular shaped lot or home. Okay. And then homes that are supported in every direction are the favored. So like a home that's here in the center is the best. You have a home, to the right, to the left, behind you, landscaping in the front. So the energy comes and stays on the property and is able to benefit people with money, with health, and with relationships. We don't like corner lots. I know a lot of people love that because you get more bang for your buck. If you are on a corner lot, depending on which side of the home is the corner, it can indicate issues in relationships. Like, for instance, the left side of your home is the corner lot as you look out the front door, or it's a busy road. That can indicate, if you're a woman living there, that you might have a hard time finding a man or getting married or keeping a man. It can also indicate money issues with your work. If it's the right side of the home, that's a road or an empty lot, as you look outside your front door, if you're a single man, you can have a hard time finding a woman, keeping a woman, staying in a relationship. Or it can indicate, people bullying you at work. So that's why we like homes that are like in the center, where they have other properties that are to the right and to the left of them. Okay, before I get into the negative features, let me see if I can answer these questions. Let me see, where are the questions at? I see the ones from, okay, let me just look at the Q&A part. Okay, so there's no open questions. It kept popping up as 4. Okay, so the first home that would make it difficult to sell and list and is a home that you'll see in the neighborhood that has high turnover, which means people will move in and out of here like every year, every couple of years. It's usually the home that's for sale because people are getting divorced, or it could be a home where, people are, somebody's car came like crashing or careening into somebody's living room. So these are the T-juncture homes. It's the home that sits at the top of a stop sign. So we love homes that face the road. We just don't like homes where a road dives into the house. So your home can face the road, but we don't want it to be a T, because that indicates that too much energy is coming to your property. So there's too much coming and going. So if you envision energy like water, and your home sits at the top of a stream, and the stream is dead ending at your water, your home is being infused with all that water, all that energy. So normally people can experience high blood pressure, anxiety, stress. They can experience, fighting, people feeling unruly, uncomfortable. So with these types of homes, what you need to do is, ideally, I tell clients to not choose these homes, but if you have no choice and you've already moved in or you're trying to sell the home, then you're going to want to remedy it to try to give the occupants a better opportunity, or, able to try to, make enough money so that they can move from a home like this. So in the front of the property, you will want to, have like a 3-foot brick wall or stucco wall, something in the front so that it slows down how the chi or the energy comes to the property. That will help slow down the energy, and that'll help to speed up the sale of the home. It'll help the people to make more money. It'll help so that they don't feel as anxious. So make sure that the property is secured in the front with something solid. And if a car were to lose control, it would be able to stop it as well. The next home that makes it difficult to sell and list, and what you can do to remedy it, is homes that are next to a freeway. So homes that are next to busy roads or freeways can indicate money loss. It can indicate people behaving badly. It can indicate, people not being able to concentrate. because there's a lot of energy coming and going. So in these properties, you want a retaining wall that the city builds, and then you want your own retaining wall. So you need double, because the freeways out here are really busy, and they're always busy. And it's the same thing if you live next to busy roads. You want retaining walls all the way around your property, so it slows down the cheer, the energy that's coming around your property. I always tell people, because people will, want to get into properties in the neighborhood that they like that are next to a freeway because it's more affordable, because usually the price is less. But I tell people, when you do that, you might, be able to get in short term, but long term, it might not pay off, because you can end up losing money in these types of homes, or being stressed out all the time. Or these homes also are more prone to like robbery and theft, because they're next to a freeway. So there's an easy way in and an easy way out. So for this reason, I always tell people avoid these homes. But if you can't, because you're trying to sell it, just make sure you have stucco walls, retaining walls, wood walls, anything solid around the property, thick landscaping to help offset that. Then roads that are higher than the roof of the house. This is usually like in mountainous areas. It can indicate money issues. The house will appear like it's in a pit, or it's a money pit. These are homes that sometimes a car will, lose control and careen and end up on the roof of the house. So for that reason, these are not ideal homes to pick, right out the gate. But if you're living in one or you're trying to sell one, make sure there's thick landscaping around the property to protect the home, to help secure the property. And then front doors that do not face the road. So ideally, you do want the door to be visible from the road. There are exceptions, so don't panic if this isn't your situation. But you definitely don't want thick landscaping blocking the front door, as in this top example right here. You want to keep the landscaping around 10 feet away from the front door. So in that case, I would tell my client, you can have that landscaping, but you got to pull it closer towards the sidewalk, because you need a 10-foot clearance so that the energy can enter your property and, benefit people with money, with the health, with the relationships. And the second example, if you have too much landscaping and it's overwhelming the property, that can indicate, depression, people feeling health issues. So in that case, that's an easy fix. Just, cut down the landscaping, cut it back, let it be in proportion to the size of the property, so that you can see the house as well. Extreme slopes. So whenever you have extremes in any way, whether it's a design slopes, that's usually money issues. So with these types of properties, you want to make sure they're secured all the way around. So you want to have like retaining walls or thick landscaping. If you envision energy like water and you're hosing your property, anytime water is running away from your property or down a drop off, or, down a hill, that usually indicates money issues. So people will have ups and downs with money, and it can indicate, corporate takeovers, depending on what business you are in. So ideally, you want properties that are on flat land. If you do like to live like, in a coastal area where there's a mountain view or an ocean view, then make sure the land is flat, or make sure that you have retaining walls around the property or thick landscaping. I've helped a lot of clients, with their new construction, like in areas like Laguna Beach, Newport Coast, Santa Monica, Malibu. A lot of those areas have restrictions about what you can build. So we've had to get creative, like do, 3-foot shrubs in front so that we don't block the view, or do clear fencing. So there's always something that can be done, but it'll depend on the city. And then homes that are located negatively. So living next to, like graveyards or excavation sites, that usually can indicate lethargy or depression or health issues. A lot of times people like living next to like memorial parks or cemeteries, because, it's like a quiet neighborhood. And I always tell people, you know, it might be quiet, but it's because the energy is dead or there's no chi there. So you want to live in an area where you're avoiding structures like this. I had a client trying to sell a home, and across the street from the home was a church, and then next to a church was, excuse me, a memorial park. So we had to block off the view of the church and the memorial park because those are like low chi or low vibrating areas. And then once we did that, in their case, we did it with bamboo and some other landscaping, they were able to sell the property faster. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to be next to like busy police stations either, because there's a lot of negative energy coming and going. Everything, of course, is relative to the macro feng shui, which means the feng shui of your city. And then we look at the micro feng shui, which is your home, your neighborhood. So like homes that live next to a police station in Irvine, you're fine because, you know, Irvine is a safer neighborhood. There's not a lot coming and going because the police are on top of everything. Whereas if your home is next to a police station in, you know, South Central LA, then I would be more worried because there's a lot more coming and going. So everything is always going to be relative to the macro feng shui, so of your area, and then, you know, the city that you live in, the county, and then of course your actual home. And then homes that back up to a canal, train tracks, or those transmission lines, it's not ideal. You're going to want retaining walls behind those properties. I had a client in San Diego, close to Carlsbad, that was trying to sell their home that backed up to a train track. So we had to, you know, put thick retaining walls. It's not cost effective and it's not ideal, but she was having a hard time selling the property. And then we did a couple other things, and then she was able to speed up the sale. And it's the same thing with the canals. The transmission lines affect health, especially. The World Health Organization did a study on short-term, medium-term, and long-term health of transmission lines, you know, towers, poles, to see the effect on the human body. Short-term, people were more likely to get colds. Medium-term, people were getting like headaches, sleep issues. And then long-term, it transmuted cells like cancer. So I always tell people, try to avoid living next to transmission towers, poles, because it can affect your health. If you don't have a choice, there is a product. And at the end, you can email me that it's online. The website's Earth Calm, that I found does help. But ideally, you want to avoid those sites. But if you can't, you know, for the interim, you can get this product and it'll help mitigate the energy from those towers and those poles. And then, so you want to avoid properties that have unstable foundation. So unstable foundation is considered like a floating foundation, which is the case in these two, like living over a carport, or the left is in Malibu. What happens is the energy, instead of coming inside your home, goes underneath the property. So the energy stays here. So it is difficult to remedy properties like this. And like, if you're the homeless person that's living underneath here, you'll probably end up making money. But if you're the person that's living up here, you'll notice that if you are renting a home like that, there's high turnover. So a lot of people coming and going. Now, what I would do is, if I was, you know, the owner of this property, I would build this out and make it a wall so that it's enclosed. And the same thing with this carport, I would make it an enclosed garage, because the people living above that might have money issues. They might not sleep well. They might experience health issues. So it's important to be on a flat piece of land. You can live in a high-rise building, but you don't want to live over the garage. You want to be like on the 3rd, 4th, 5th, or penthouse floor, ideally. Let me see the questions here. What about smart meters outside the wall of the bed? So again, that's not ideal. It gives people anxiety. They might not sleep as well. So I would try to move your bed, or get a product that helps mitigate that. And then homes that back up to water. Does that mean if there is water behind the house, then it's bad? It depends on the facing direction of the home and what the water is activating. But canals for sure behind the home are not ideal. You know, if your home faces the ocean, it can be okay. It just depends on the degree that it faces. But just keep in mind that an ocean, a river, these are fast moving bodies of water. They're very aggressive. It's a lot of energy, and a home can sometimes not handle that type of energy. So it's all dependent on the direction that the home faces and where the water's located. But for sure, canals, train tracks, transmission lines, that's not ideal. And then homes to a mountain. So we like mountains around a property. We love it when a mountain is behind a property, because then it hugs the property or embraces the property energetically. And the energy can come, and the mountains will help secure that energy and keep it on the property. It usually indicates like good standing in the community, a lot of support with money, health, and relationships. And then water placement. So having water features like a pool or a fountain or a pond can be good depending on the direction your home faces and where it's placed. It can also be negative depending on what direction your home faces and where it's placed. So a rule of thumb is if you have a pool, a water feature, like a fountain or a pool, if things have mostly been going well and the home sells quickly, it's placed well. If things are up and down, it could be the water feature, it could be something else. If things are mostly negative, it could be the water feature. I had a client who moved into a home, has a pool in the backyard, and ever since they moved into that home, their husband filed for divorce. They were having issues with their work, having issues with friends and family, like fighting with people, not getting along well. And in that case, it happened to be the pool. Because you can't pick up a pool and move it, the short-term fix was to get a pool cover and cover it up. She ended up selling the house and moving, which was the best decision. But in the interim, she got a pool cover. So that is an option. If it's a fountain, you can shut it off and turn it off. If you're unsure, then hire an expert like someone like me that can tell you if the pool is placed well, if it's helping the home or if it's hurting the hurting the home. Negative placed pools can indicate like unjust payouts to the IRS, illness, and things like divorce. A well-placed pool can indicate money luck, promotions, bonus, good health, good relationships. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at water features. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions. Okay, so there's a lot to discuss about the inside of the home, but because this is a shorter class, I'm just going to do the very, very basics. But just know that when you're looking at energy, the most important is the outside location, orientation, direction. And then we look at the inside. So like bed placement, furniture placement, locations of bathrooms, location of kitchen, location of stove in the kitchen, location of staircase. Know that there's a lot that we consider, and we make sure that that's set up really well so that people can benefit with money, with health, and relationships. For this purpose right now, I'm just going to do very brief things that you can look at, but know that there's a lot more that you can do to change it. So there are three things that we don't like in the center of the home. And the center of the home, in order to figure out what that is, you need a floor plan that's drawn to scale. You would divide up that floor plan into 9 equilateral boxes, and the very middle box is considered the center of the home. We don't want toilets in the center of the home, laundry rooms, or fountains, because that can affect the organs of the body dealing with fluids. So the kidneys, the bladder, the blood. It can indicate, urinary tract infection, blood issues, UTIs, kidney infections, that type of thing. So if you do have a fountain in the center of the home, shut it off, drain it, don't use it. If you have a laundry room in the center of the home and you're having these issues, consider moving it to the garage or some other part of the home. And then if you have a bathroom in the center of the home and you have other bathrooms, stop using that one if you're having these issues. And the center of the home can be downstairs or upstairs, so just keep that in mind. If in the center of the home you have a floor-to-ceiling fireplace or kitchen, that can affect the heart. So high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, heart attack, that type of thing. If it's a fireplace, just don't use it. It'll help any issues you're having. If it's a kitchen and you cook, it's going to be harder to remedy. So keep that in mind. You might have to use an outdoor kitchen or set up a double burner scenario, which I help people with when I do consultations. And then lastly, if you have more than half of your staircase in the center of the home, or a floor-to-ceiling fireplace in the center of the home, that can affect the bones in your body. So your joints, the skeleton, the cranium, anything that has to do with the bones and the joints in the body. And the longer you live in the home that has these issues, the more intense that energy gets. So we can't move a staircase because it's too cost prohibitive, even though I've had a couple of clients do it. The best thing to do is to set up the furniture, the placement of the bed, the desk, everything else, so that it benefits people and it pumps up the good energy. And we'll kind of discuss that in a little bit. So this is the example of what everything is when I say water, fire, and mountain. And you don't want these in the center of the home because it can cause health issues like I've described. Okay, so we're going to discuss the 8 mansion system right now. And for those of you that don't have my 8 mansions charts, I want you to go to my website and pull it up on there. So you go to realfengshui.com, and it's spelled FENGSHUI.com. And then if you click on the tab that is called Soul Blog, and then you go down to charts, 8 mansions charts right here. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th one down. Both charts are here. And if you click on them, they enlarge. And then click on the other one, it enlarges. So you're going to want these charts because this is the system where I'm going to help you, figure out your office space, your home space, so that you're able to make more money, get new clients, get new listings, close deals faster, negotiate transactions easier. So go to realfengshui.com. You can go to Real Feng Shui Solutions, but it's longer. So just go to realfengshui.com, Soul Blog, and then down to the 8 mansions charts, and you'll see it. Does anybody have any questions on how to do that? Okay. All right, let's go back to the other screen. And then let me make this bigger. Okay. So this system is based on your birthday and your gender. So if you go back to this chart right here, you're going to want to look up the year that you're born. So for instance, if you're born September 5, 1980, and you're a woman, you would go to 1980 and then female, and that means you would be a 4 Gua. So this is based on the Chinese calendar. So if you're born January 1 to February 4th, you're going to use the previous year as the year you're born. So for instance, if I was born January 5th, 1995, I would use 1994 as the year that I'm born. But if you are born, after February 4th to December 31st, just use the current year you're born. Does that make sense? So if you're a male, for instance, and you're born March 10th, 1961, look under male, you're a 3 Gua. So this is the chart that you use to look up your Gua number. Your Gua number is a number 1 through 9, excluding 5. That number tells us personality traits, parts of the body that you might be vulnerable with health-wise, people that you'll be compatible with. It gives us, your energy dynamic, your traits, your characteristics, jobs that you might be interested in, things like that. So the Gua number is kind of similar to your astrological sign in Western horoscope. It gives us a clue as to who you are as a person, homes that will be compatible to you, people that will be compatible to you, energy that will be compatible to you. So it kind of helps us assess things on a personal level for you. Okay, so does everybody know how to find their Gua number? So it's a number 1 through 9, excluding 5. So that's the chart you would use. Okay, then you're going to go into this chart, and then you'll see your Gua number at the bottom. You'll see celebrities that share your Gua number, and it'll give you general traits about your Gua number.
Jennifer,
then,
we are stuck on the slide that says East Life Group.
Okay,
We're
it's not
seeing
showing the other
same,
one.
yeah, we're not seeing the same. So I think we need to go from where your slide is.
Okay, let me go back to. Did you guys see me go on the website or no?
No,
Okay.
no, we did not. It's stuck at the one that we were just at. Okay, that's where it was stuck.
Okay, let me see if I. So when I escape it and I'm still screen sharing, you can't see me go onto the website?
No,
Huh. How do we change that?
don't know.
Let me see.
If you go back to the one chart that you have, they should be able to see from the large chart that we usually hand out at the office when we're in a live environment. Go back. Nope. Yeah. They should be able to tell from there.
Yeah, but this one doesn't have the one where they can see their birthdays. Oh, there it is.
There
Okay,
it is.
I'll use
Yep.
this one. Instead of
Perfect.
using the website one, I'll use this one. Okay, so this is the chart on the right that I was talking about. So you look, you know, if you're male, male, female, female, right? So pink for women, blue for men. And if you're born after February 4th to December 31st, just use the year you're born to find your Gua number. If you're born January 1 to February 4th, you're going to use the previous year. So again, like if I'm born January 5th, 1970, and I'm a male, I would use 1969 male as the year that I'm born, because it's in between when that Chinese calendar switches over. So January 1 to February 4th. Does that part make sense? Okay, so once you find your Gua number, then you're going to use this chart on the left to find the best directions based on your Gua number. So if you're a 3, a 4, a 1, or a 9, you're part of the East Life group. And your favorable directions to make money, for health, for relationships, and for stability are listed here. So if you're a 3, your money direction is south, your health direction is north, your relationship direction is southeast, and then your stability direction is the east. Those are your 4 favorable directions. And then underneath, you'll see the negative directions. I'm not going to go into the negative directions today. I'm just going to teach you how to use the good directions. And then if you're West Life group 6, 2, 8, or 7, the favorable directions are colored, and then the negative directions are just in white, and vice versa. So you'll notice that the good directions for West Life group are going to be the negative directions for East Life group, and vice versa. So once you find your Gua number, once you find your 4 favorable directions, I'm going to show you how to use those directions. Let me go back a couple of screens so I can kind of go over the directions here. Okay, so this is color coded. So if you're a 3, 4, 1, or 9, you're East Life group, which means your 4 favorable directions, if you're one of those 4 Gua numbers, is north, east, southeast, and south. Those are your 4 favorable direction. It'll depend what your money direction is based on your Gua number. So for instance, if you're a 4, north is your money direction, which is the plus 90. Don't worry about this numeric code, because when you get the actual real chart, it'll tell you north is your money direction. And then this is the same to be true for the West Life group. So for a 6, their money direction is west. For a 2, their money direction is northeast. 8, your money direction is southwest. 7, your money direction is northwest. So the big chart will tell you that as well. In order to do this in your home or in your business, because this is where you're going to utilize the system, you need a compass. The best compass is your iPhone compass. So mine is under extras, but there is a compass already built into your iPhone. It's the most accurate. If you have an Android, unfortunately, it's not accurate and you might not get a good result. So just borrow a friend that has an iPhone compass. And what you do is you're going to want to stand outside facing out. You're going to hold the iPhone horizontally like this. And then you're going to drop it down so that it's in line with your belly button. And you're going to stand outside of your home or your office, wherever you're doing this, facing out. So the top of your phone is going to point out towards the street or to the grass or wherever outside is. And then it will give you a degree and a direction. And you need to know the degree and the direction, because when you're trying to figure out, like, okay, north is my money direction. Where's north? Is north over here? Is north over there? Like, where's the north? You have to be able to know and reference where that direction is in order to activate the energy in that direction. And in a second, that'll make more sense what that means. So these are all the degrees listed, but just know your iPhone does it for you as well. So your GUA number. So I kind of discussed this, but I'll repeat it. Your GUA number is important because it gives you your 4 good directions that support you with money, with health, with relationship, with stability, that we can activate in your home or business so that you get more of that energy in your life. It also tells us, you know, how compatible spouses are with kids, parents, coworkers, business partners. It kind of explains why, you know, you can work with someone for years and they're the nicest person, but you just don't get along with them, or you just don't care for them. They're not your cup of tea. It's that energy dynamic. It also gives us emotional makeup, characteristic traits, occupations, and health issues. So once you've figured out what your good directions are, your 4 good directions, we're going to use that in your home or business, every single room, to arrange it so that you're activating that energy. It'll help you make more money, get new clients, negotiate transactions easier, close deals faster, study for an exam, ace the exam. You know, if you're interviewing for a job and you want to get the job, it'll help with all of that. So that's what we're going to discuss now. So these are the charts. The one on the right tells you your GUA number based on your birthday and your gender. The one on the left tells you your good directions based on your GUA number. Let me see if there's questions I can answer. So somebody's asking if your birthday is 2/23/50. So you would be 5, 10, 1. You're a 1 GUA. Does the chart not go back? Yeah, it goes up to 50. So you would go right here and then look under female, and it's a number 1. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so then the good direction. So that code that says +90 is just your money direction. And it has it listed here too. So money +90. We just use that code as an easy way to reference your money directions, but don't let it confuse you. If you don't like that +90, just look at money. And then you have the Chinese way to say it. So +90, the pluses are your positive directions, negative are your negative directions. So +90 is money, +80 is health, +70 relationships, and +60 stability. Okay, so how do we use it? So you're going to want to start sleeping with your head to one of your good directions. And how you know what direction you can use will depend on the layout of your room. So sometimes people have 4 walls they can sleep on. Sometimes people have 1. Sometimes people have 2. It will depend on that. You're going to want to face one of your good directions when you're working. So you'll be sitting in your desk facing a good direction. You're going to want to start coming in and out of doors that face your good direction, whether it's at work or at home. When you're watching TV, you're going to want to arrange your furniture so that you're facing a good direction. When you're sitting down meditating, whatever opportunity you have to face that good direction, you're going to do it. When you're negotiating with clients or other agents, you're going to face your money direction. If you want to land a new client, you're going to face your money direction. So here's the thing, whatever your goal is, that's the direction you're going to face. So I always tell people, use your money direction. That is the best direction. It is good for money, for health, and for relationships. And that's your plus 90. So if your home and business allows you to face that direction, face it exclusively all the time. Walk in and out of doors that face that direction all the time. So for instance, if I'm a four-gua, my money direction is the north. So I'm going to start coming and going from north doors in my home or in my business if I'm able to. I'm going to start sleeping with my head to the north. So my headboard is on that north wall. It's not where your feet is, it's your head, it's your crown chakra that activates the money direction. When I'm at my desk or in my cube, I'm going to situate my laptop to face the north, or I'm going to ask my manager if I can move to a desk that faces the north. In my home office, I'm going to face the north. When I'm watching TV, I'm going to adjust my couch so I'm facing Bravo, watching north, okay, or whatever show you like to watch, right? So depending on your gua number, you will adjust your furniture accordingly. So this would be great for a 7 gua. So a 7 gua, the northwest is their money direction. Hold on, let me see if there's another question. Yes, 1 is your gua number. So if I'm situating my bed in my bedroom, and it happens to be into a corner, that's fine. Just make sure you have a very sturdy headboard and you have like a plant behind you, because the energy in corners are more, is stronger. So sometimes people don't sleep as well. And the same thing, if you're sleeping to a window, it's fine, as long as you have a headboard and window treatments. The way the windows are now, there's no issue like with the old aluminum windows. They used to leak. So it wasn't good for people to sleep to those windows because they didn't sleep as well and they would get sick. But now that's not an issue. So just make sure you always have a headboard and you have window treatments. And then if you're a 6 gua, your money direction is the west. So you would sleep with your headboard to the west. And that's how you would situate your bed. If I was a 4 gua, I would put my bed up against this north wall, right? Or if I'm a 3 gua, my head would be on this south wall. Okay, so it just depends on your gua number. And then the desk position is the same. So you're either going to position the furniture. If you can't move the furniture, then you move the laptop on the furniture and you position yourself accordingly. So this would be great for a 7 gua. Northwest is your money direction. Again, if you're in a corner, like facing a corner, just put a plant back here so that the energy doesn't disrupt you when you're working. It'll help absorb it. Okay, so that's the last slide that shows an example. What I'm going to do now, so here's my contact information. I'm going to answer any questions that you guys may have. And just keep in mind, I've condensed everything for this lecture so that you guys are able to get the gist of how real Feng Shui works, so that I can debunk myths and things that you've heard in the past that people have claimed was Feng Shui and it's not. So just know this is a very abbreviated, condensed version. I do teach classes and those are listed on my website as well. I have an online series going at all times. And then I also consult with clients as well. So what I want to do is you can reach out to me, and here's the different ways. You can also email me. It's just jennifer@realfengshui.com if you have other questions. But do you guys have questions for me that you want to answer? Is there a way for them to actually talk to me, or it's only through chat?
I'm the only one who can talk to you and Elsie at this point. It's set up as a webinar, not a meeting. So
Okay.
they can put whatever questions they have in the Q&A. It looks like there is one down there in the Q&A or in the chat. And I don't see anything in the chat besides if you will share the slides. And I said, no, we are just sharing the recording only, because they can go to your website directly to get those, the slide that had all the directions and how to find their number. So if you have 2 questions coming in on the bottom. So how much do
Okay.
you charge for a session? Rochelle would like to know.
It's based on the square footage. So up to 2,000 square feet, it's $380. And then over that to 4,000, it's $480.
Perfect. And they can contact you directly if they were interested in hiring you to go out and do a consultation with one of their buyers or sellers.
Yes, absolutely. And then the other one is, as a one gua, where do I face? So your favorable directions as a one, let me look it up. I don't have ones memorized. So your money direction is southeast. So you would want to position your furniture so that you're facing southeast. So your bed, your head would go towards the southeast direction. And then when you're working, like another way you can utilize this too is, say that you're negotiating a deal and with another agent, whether it's on the phone or in a conference room, get there a few minutes early. If you're meeting them at a conference room or a Starbucks or a restaurant, figure out the directions and then pick a seat that faces your money direction. So for the one gua, you would pick a seat that faces southeast. So you're staring at the southeast direction. So when you're negotiating with that person or your client or whomever, it will give you a competitive advantage. You will have the upper hand on being able to negotiate a deal easier, getting the price that your client wants, closing the transaction faster. Does that make sense? Let me see if I answer that. So the PowerPoint will be shared with the recording. So you'll get the PowerPoint with the recording.
Just as a recording though. So they're just receiving the video. We're not going to be giving them your PowerPoint slides. We're just giving them the video, which are in essence your slides.
Yeah, which includes the slides,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, perfect. And then do you make more money when you sell the home for more if the home is in Feng Shui? Do you make more money, sell the home for more money if the home is Feng Shui, I think is what they're saying.
Oh, like if the home is Feng Shui.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want to like give absolutes because it depends on the property, but ideally, the homes that I've worked with my clients, they were able to sell it faster at a price that they liked. But of course, you can't say across the board, yes, that's going to happen, because it depends on the location, the direction, the orientation, what's going on around the property and what's going on inside the property. So there are some homes that, yeah, absolutely you can. But I will say the homes that were more difficult to sell, they did sell faster. And the price wasn't bad. I feel like in this market now, though, you're going to make a lot of money because it is a seller's market. So I think that that's not as prevalent now as it was in the past. And then bed. So for a one gua, you would put your bed on a southeast wall. Okay, is there any other questions that you guys have? I want to make sure that I get to all of them. And again, the charts are on the website. It's listed there. Just go under Soul Blog and then scroll down like, 8 or 9 blog entry posts, and it's under 8 mansions charts. And then of course, whatever questions you have, you can call me or email me, Jennifer@realfengshui.com. And Jennifer is just spelled the normal way, JENNIFER. And then on Instagram, I post all the time. Like the most recent post I did Erica Jane's house, I feng shuied it. Like I indicated, what the energy indicated, how it could have affected them, what it means now, different things they could have done. So I post on different celebrity homes, just different daily tips, just anything that can kind of give people more information and help. And then there's info there on my classes as well as on my website too. All right, well, it looks like there's not any more questions. If there isn't any more questions, I'll let you guys all go because I want to honor and respect your time. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you for being patient with my technical issues. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. If you sign up on the newsletter, sorry, if you sign up on my website for the newsletter, it'll send me an email notification. And what I do is I do like a little drawing. I'll send people either one of my books or one of my teacher's books. So if you're interested in that, you can do that too. And I don't spam people. I only send out one newsletter a month and it's all informational. All right, let me see. There's one more question on here. Oh, you're very
Jennifer,
welcome.
you are awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys
we
so
are
much.
so blessed to have you over all these years.
Oh, you're so
Teach for
sweet.
Orange County Realtors. It's amazing. And you help educate so many more individuals every year. You have one more class at the end of this year. So we will see you one more time. And anybody who's on the call now, go ahead and tell your friends, tell the realtors in your office. This was a great course. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Can't wait to be back in live.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.